Our sit-downs with the godfathers of Wall Street continue with a man who spent 30 years purchasing and selling distressed companies. Soon after, Asher Edelman chronicled his strategy by teaching a course at Columbia entitled Corporate Rating, The Art of War. Then after leaving Wall Street, he made his mark on high-end investing and established Edelman Arts in New York City. He joins us here at the NASDAQ. Asher, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
You say that we are currently in a recession. Every Fed official who speaks to us tells us we are not in a recession. What are they missing?
I think it's pretty straightforward. The average American has not had an increase in pay in 15 years, but things have cost more in the marketplaces. He has been in a recession for 15 years. Nothing's changed for him. Up at the top, we're not in a recession, but 80% of the Americans have been in a recession for at least 15 years.
So how does that translate into investing, into the stock market? Is it that it's a recession that seems like nobody realizes we are in one, and certainly nobody realized we've been in one for 15 years?
Who is your nobody?
I think the broader investing public. If you polled anybody on the street or anybody on this desk right here.
It sounds like you're talking more about financial oppression than you are in economic decline. I mean, I get the fact that a lot of people aren't doing as well because structurally society isn't rewarding them maybe the way they should. I'm not going to get into that.
That's a social issue. I'm talking about money and economics. People can buy less for what they have now than they could 15 years ago. In their lives, that's a recession.
Okay. So how about the broader economy, though? How about the labor market that continues to tighten in the United States and in Japan and in Europe? And everyone's going to tell me that's a backward-leading indicator. But right now, I see a job market that tells me that the service sector is more than making up for manufacturing and commodity.
And you are, of course, aware that we have fewer people as a percentage of the population employed today than we did in 2007.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what's that about a job market?
Is the labor market worse?
Yes, it is. And then if you take into account the people who are working in McDonald's who used to run a computer for somebody else, it's even worse than that.
So let's say you're back on Wall Street today. How would you express those views in investing or in any other way when it comes to money and investing?
My view was always very straightforward. If you could buy control of a company or close to control of a company where the hard assets are worth 2 times the stock price, you could then work out something to do from there. That's what I'd be doing.
Are there sectors that you look out at right now and think, if I were still in the game, this is an area that I would go after?
Yeah, I look at some distress, mainly in Europe today, but I look at distress, yeah.
In Europe?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the presidential elections. I'm curious, we're asking everybody essentially, who you think the best candidate for the economy would be?
Bernie Sanders.
Without a doubt. Why is that?
No question.
Policies?
Well, I think it's quite simple again. If you look at something called velocity of money, you guys know what that is, I presume. Mm-hmm. That means how much gets spent and turns around. When you have the top 1% getting money, they spend 5–10% of what they earn. When you have the lower end of the economy getting money, they spend 100 or 110% of what they earn. As you've had a transfer of wealth to the top and a transfer of income to the top, you have a shrinking consumer base, basically, and you have a shrinking velocity of money. Mm-hmm. Bernie is the only person out there who I think is talking at all about both fiscal stimulation and banking rules that will get the banks to begin to generate lending again as opposed to speculation.
Okay. Asher.
So from an economic point of view, it's straightforward.